Real estate investing. You've heard of it. You know there's something there. Maybe you even have a friend that's a landlord. If you're interested in learning more or even getting started, I want to talk to you about why I think you should not invest in this and instead invest in this. By the end of this video, you're going to know some of the realities of real estate investing that can save you time, frustration, and help you achieve your wealth goals. Now, I'm assuming you're a busy professional like I am. You've got a full-time job that keeps you very busy, and with the time you have left, you take vacations, hang out with family, but don't have a whole lot of extra time outside of that. You like the idea of real estate investing, but maybe you're just concerned or don't know what it would take in terms of the time investment to learn how to do so. Now, from that point of view, let's talk about how most people get involved in real estate investing, which is to buy a single-family home and rent it out. Now, it's probably a very easy way to get started. Heck, most of us have bought a house before, so it's fairly familiar. But how hard can it be, right? Well, let's talk about that. Now, there certainly are advantages to starting with a single-family home and renting it out. First, it's familiar. I mean, most of us have bought a home, if not more than one home in our lifetime. You get to keep 100% of the gains that you make on it. And there are tax benefits that you can get for owning real estate, just like a lot of other real estate. But there are some serious cons to consider if you're a busy professional. While you may understand how to buy a single family home, running it requires an investment that's more than just putting some money down, signing papers, and calling it a day. It's an ongoing investment of your time and attention and money to make sure that it does as well as you want it to. It's essentially like running a business. Now, being a landlord is not rocket science, but it does take time and you're gaining experience to get better at it, just like anything else. Also, you may need to do some light renovations to heavy renovations depending on the kind of house you're buying. So maybe you do the work yourself, maybe you hire somebody, and dealing with contractors isn't usually easy. Now, you also need to manage the property. And given you're a busy professional, more than likely the right move is to hire a property manager. They'll be the ones that'll find the tenant, put him in the home, make sure that there aren't any issues that come up. And if they are, they address them. And if the tenant leaves, they find another one for you. But that's definitely going to eat into your profitability, which is the whole reason you're doing it in the first place. There are often also unplanned expenses that could eat into your profitability. They could swallow up any chance of a profit for months or even years, depending on the size of the issue you're running into. Also, you're either 100% occupied or 0% occupied. And what I mean by that is either you have somebody in the home paying the rent, or there's nobody in the home and you're getting no income. And when you have a mortgage, that's kind of unsettling. So in summary, it takes an investment of time, attention, and money to give it the best chance of it to succeed. Now let's talk about a very different approach to real estate investing called multifamily investing. This is investing in apartment complexes. Now, if you're like me, I never knew this was even possible. I've spent years living in apartments, especially out of college, and for many years, and I had no idea. I never really thought about who owned this property that I live in. It just didn't occur to me. But my thinking now, after being exposed to many different real estate strategies, is that I'm convinced that this is a much better way for a busy professional to get into real estate. That's why I have a large portion of my wealth in apartments. So why do I think it's such a great approach? Let me give you some reasons as to why. First of all, apartments are very important to the economy of this country. Many of us know that the price of housing, it keeps going up, and many families are now priced out of the ability to buy a home. So what they do is they default to the next best option, which is renting. Second, when an apartment complex is purchased, there's an experienced general partnership team that actually acquires the property, manages it, and makes sure that the investment performs like it's supposed to. Third, there are significant economies of scale with apartments, and reduced risk. What do I mean by that? Well, apartment complexes may be 100 units or more. If somebody leaves that apartment, one apartment let's say, your income is affected a little bit, but you've got plenty to pay the mortgage. Whereas in a single family home, if somebody leaves that home, there's no income at all. So the fact that you're able to use the scale of an apartment really helps make sure that the investment performs well over time. The fourth reason, and probably one of my favorite, is the fact that apartments are valued based on how they're run. It's not based so much on the comparable properties like you would see in a single family home. It's based on the actual profitability of the investment. So the higher the profit of the property, the higher the value that property is going to have. And you're not at the whim so much of the properties around you or anything like that, like you would see in single family homes. The fifth reason is that apartments can also take advantage of many of the tax benefits that you hear about when it comes to real estate. You can take depreciation and show phantom losses, for example, and perhaps delay or even avoid paying taxes depending on the strategy that you follow. And apartments also allow you to implement some more advanced tax strategies like cost segregation studies and things that you can do to bring depreciation up forward to be able to even defer more tax sooner, which is pretty cool. The sixth reason, and really one of my favorite, is the fact that apartment complexes allow the investment team to hire an excellent property manager. The property manager will find new guests and put them in the property. They'll help with the renovations. They'll make sure maintenance issues are taken care of, etc. They're in the business of running properties like these, so investors don't have to. And why is that a big deal? Because it really makes this a passive investment for the investor. The team of general partners are the ones who work with that property manager to make sure that the property is running well. And finally, perhaps most importantly, the returns are excellent and frankly a lot more predictable than the stock market. As of this recording, it's not uncommon to hear about investments that double your money basically in 5 to 6 years. So a $50,000 investment today may yield $100,000 in 5 or 6 years. Now, can that be achieved through the stock market? You don't really know. Maybe, maybe not. It all depends on the cycle that you're in and what's going on at the time. Now, every investment has its pluses and minuses, and apartments are no different. There are two things that I want you to know when it comes to apartment investing. First is that once you make an investment, your investment is locked into that deal. It can't be removed again until the exit has occurred. So for example, if the investment team says, we plan on selling this property in 5 or 6 years, you'll probably get some income through those 5 or 6 years, but you may not get your money back plus the extra that they made until perhaps the end of the 5 or 6 years, let's say. So once the money's in there, it's in there. It can't be taken out like a bank account can. Second, it does take $50,000 typically to get it started in apartment investing. Sometimes the investment minimums are $100,000. Now, you probably can't buy a home for that much money, but that money can be put into an apartment complex along with a lot of other investors, pooled together, and then at the end of 5 or 6 years, let's say, double the money is returned back to the investors, which is really cool. So do you now see why this is a great way to invest in real estate, especially for busy professionals? If there's one thing I want you to remember of this whole video is this: apartment investing is a scalable and passive way to get into real estate investing without the hard work and time necessary to learn it, which is a great option. I didn't know about this until some years ago, and now this is really primarily how I invest. So what do you think? Do you have experience in either one of these? Let me know in the comments below.